Welcome to the Phil Steele Plus Tour for October the 26th. Up for you today, we've got 5 selections and 4 quick hitters for you. And we take a little tour of the Phil Steele Plus, show you how to use it. I know a lot of you guys are already members of Phil Steele Plus, but I want to make sure you use it to its fullest. There's just so much information up there. Well, it was a rough couple of weeks here for the tour the last 2 weeks. I'm not happy with losing weeks on the tour, which we've had. Now, last year, and it seems like every year, guys, since I started handicapping a long time ago, and it seems like September is always a great month for me. October gets a little rocky, and then November is great. Last year, the tour finished the month of November 13-7. And I know we got one last week here in October. I'm hoping we get a nice winning week here, and then we get to November where everything is, in fact, you've got all your power ratings going. Last 4 weeks, average game grades are all working great, and last November 13-7. So I'm really looking forward to a great November and looking forward to a good final week here in October. Let's have a big winning week here for the selections. And we're going to start out with the revenge game of the week, and how can we not? And as mentioned, I'm picking a revenge game of the week off of the schedule that's on philsteele.com. So while the revenge game of the week here on the tour is 5-1 this year, you got to love that. It's pretty easy when you're picking from records. Just double click on this one. Here we go. If we take a look, here are the records of the schedule. Now, once again, to get to the schedule on philsteele.com, you click right here. You go to you go to your main page. This is your FBS information, team pages. You click on schedule with power ratings forecasts. And on the schedule with power ratings forecast, you click here, and there is the schedule. What I'm showing you right now, I even added another column this week to it. And let's get back here to the actual thing. Take a look at a couple things here. All right, there we go. Now, all this stuff's available. You can get the strength of schedule updated for you, which is right here. UCLA's played the toughest schedule so far this season, and that helps you out a lot. We also have the strength of schedule updated here. I give you all the differences. You see Oregon's played a much tougher schedule than Illinois has. And once again, this is not the complete schedule. It's just the 5 games I'm going to go over with you today. You get pass efficiency defense. Who's number 1 in the country in pass efficiency defense? How about BYU? Followed by Utah, followed by Iowa State, followed by Notre Dame. So those are all your top pass defenses. Keep in mind, my pass defense rankings take into account the strength of opponent played. So you may have a team like Washington here, which is only allowing 47.5%, probably higher in the pass efficiency defense, but they've only played an 11.73 passing offenses this year. So keep that in mind. That's the beauty of the pass efficiency defense. Special teams rankings, who's number 1 right now? UNLV, followed by East Carolina, followed by SMU. Georgia's right up there. You got to like that. Let's see what else we got going on over here on the tour. We've got offense versus defense opponent average. Who's number 1 right now? And this tells you that right now, number 1 is Ohio State, followed by Miami of Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Oregon. This is offense of getting yards above opponent's average, defense holding teams to below opponent's average. Who's bottom? Kent State, Ball State, Kennesaw. Kennesaw will probably improve on that after last night's performance against Liberty. Also over here, you get strength of wins, pain of losses. That is updated for you. And this means if you beat a team, you get credit for their wins. Look at this. Everybody talks about Indiana's schedule. Indiana's beaten teams that have beaten 23 FBS teams. That's number 1 in the country. Alabama's beaten teams that have beaten 23 FBS teams. That's number 1 in the country. And then for losses, you get credit for every loss that your opponent has, whether it's FBS or FCS. So look at this. Indiana's number 1. And that's why you take a look at a team like Memphis. They've got a 0 even though they've lost a game. But their opponent that they lost to has not lost a game, so they don't get any credit for losses. Same thing here, Kansas State. They have not lost to a team that has lost a game yet this year. Same thing with Illinois. Who's at the bottom? Bowling Green's actually 0-5. Can you believe that? They have not beaten a team that has beaten an FBS team this year. That's surprising. All right, so all this is available at your fingertips on Phil Steele Plus. YPP offense, YPP defense. That's yards per play. And you see Miami of Florida is right at the top. But this is the schedule, and I showed you how to get to the schedule. So let's get back to our first game, and we're talking about revenge. Now, when it comes to revenge, as mentioned here, we have got right here. The revenge plays are 3-0 last week, 20-9 on the season, 68-29 over 2 years. So I looked at the revenge plays for this week. I picked one out. I picked Arkansas. That's why they've gone 5-1, because I'm picking from 20-9. I'm picking from 68-29. It's pretty easy. And if you want to have access to all these things, all these chart things, all the information, you get the strength of schedule plays, who's played the tougher schedule, who's played revenge, who's in a better situation. I'll get to that in a minute. We got my preseason line on the game, the current AGG line, my current plus-minus power ratings line on the game, last year's games, FPI's advantage, technical advantages here, conference AGG. I just added this, and we'll get into that for the games that they are. But you'll notice that 4 of the 5 games that I'm going to highlight on this have got conference AGG going for them this week. So all that's available. Here's your records for the year, like here. Last time here score went 8-2 last week. You got to like that. Here's one that went 3-0, 6-3 for the Action Network last week. So all that's available. Now let's dive deeper into this game. So I showed you the revenge factor. It's on Arkansas' side, 5-1. Pittman is actually 13-5-1 against the spread on the road. So all we have to do, Pittman's been here since 2020. Take a look at the away games, and you add these up, and Pittman is a very solid 13-5-1 ATS on the road. And what we have is also a 2-angle play here. Mississippi State is 2-11-1 as a home dog. So let's go click on that and just see. Home dog, you got 0-3-1, 0-1, 1-2, 0-2, 0-2. So Mississippi State is 2-11-1 as a home dog. Pittman is 13-5-1 on the road. So when you look over here in the technical angles, I say that Arkansas has a 2-edge. Why? Because of the way they play away, and I just talked to you about Pittman, and because of the home dog record. So what you would do in that case is go look up the home dog, which is Mississippi State, click on their page here, look up the home dog record, and you'll see why Arkansas is a 2-play page, or 2-play under the technical angles, but also a 3 revenge play this week. So Arkansas is playing pretty good ball. You got Mississippi State's minus 114 yards per game in conference play. Arkansas is minus 7 yards per game, and they are a revenge play. We're going to go with Arkansas minus the 6.5 over Mississippi State this week. That's Arkansas minus 6.5 over Mississippi State. Gets the call as your revenge play. All right, now we go to a red-green game. Love red-green games. Hopefully Chris will have one for us in the FCS this week. And we're going to put Miami of Florida on the right. Now, this one's got a lot going for it, so I'm going to show you some different factors here. Miami of Florida in the ACC, we're going to click on them over here. And we got Florida State is on the left. Now, here's the red-green factor. And this is what I love about Phil Steele Plus. You can see all the green here, right? So Miami's pretty much green everywhere. But look at the defenses. Miami's actually got the defensive edge. They're holding opponents to 61 yards per game below their season average. Florida State's playing decent. They're holding opponents to 43 yards per game below their season average. So the defenses are close. But look at these offenses. Miami of Florida, 577 yards per game, all green. Green run, green pass, green points, all green. Florida State, now while they're getting 577 yards per game and 48 points per game, Florida State, meanwhile, has not topped 300 yards. If you're under 300 yards, you're red. They've got red in every single game. They're only averaging 273 yards per game. They are minus 73 below what their opponents allow. So if Miami allows 306 yards per game, that means they're going to gain 73 yards below. That's 233 yards offense they're going to have in this game. And as you see, they have not even topped 300 yards all year. Meanwhile, Miami's offense puts up 190 above what their opponents allow. Now, they're allowing 370 yards per game. That's 560 yards, which is just about what their average is. So as you can see, Miami should have a lot of success in that respect. I love this. I love these plus-minus things over here. They really show you, take into account the schedule and how they do against the schedule that they've played. But there's more on this game, and I'll show you a couple more things. First of all, I do have this as a revenge play. Now, technically, a revenge play is not, you have to be, well, it should be Miami should be a 2. Oh, I don't have Miami up here. That's why it didn't show as a revenge play. Miami does come in as a revenge play, and here's why. They lost last year to Florida State, but 2 years ago here at home, They lost to Florida State 45-3. So you think Mario Cristobal might be mentioning to the team, hey, the last time Florida State came here, they embarrassed your ass. 45-3. I think you might see Miami play with a little bit of emotion here. Maybe try to reverse that score, if you know what I'm talking about. And then the final thing, I'll just take a look at PressBox. PressBox is great. It is coming off its very first losing week of the entire year. We've had 8 weeks this year. PressBox had 7 winning weeks. Last week, the best bets went 3-5. First losing week the entire year for PressBox. But when you get PressBox, you get my computer's forecast on every game, and you also get my complete write-up on every game as well. And then you get all these numbers in here, which are all on Phil Steele Plus. So you're ready. If you're a PressBox member, you already get Phil Steele Plus. But here's a complete write-up for the game. We got a 41-13. The computer's got a 43-14. So that even adds to it. Miami's only a 3-touchdown favorite in this game. So we are taking Miami of Florida as the red-green game over Florida State. That's Miami of Florida minus 21 over Florida State as the red-green game. All right, something that we just added, and it's coming in. You had a lot of non-conference games before, but now you got a lot of conference games where teams have played conference games. So I like that. And what we're coming into this one now is this is the last 4 weeks AGG game. Now, last year, I put out the last 4 weeks AGG games on a weekly basis here on the tour. They hit above 50%. But the key was whenever I put a last 4 weeks AGG game on an underdog, those plays went 5-2. So here's the last 4 weeks AGG play on an underdog, which is West Virginia. Last week, I believe we had a last 4 weeks AGG play, but it was on a favorite. Now, let's just flip on that real quick. Last 4 weeks AGG play. Yes, it was on a favorite. Iowa State gave up 2 interception returns for touchdowns that did not cover. But we're back to putting out a last 4 weeks AGG on the dog, which went 5-2 last year. So let's take a look at this. We got West Virginia on the right. We got Arizona on the left. Disappointing game for West Virginia last week, but a couple things I want to point out. Let's go back and take a look at what it was at the half against Kansas State. They actually had a 230 to 152-yard edge. In fact, West Virginia at the half had a 12-5 first down edge. Now, in the second half, they lost their quarterback, they lost their top running back, and they lost their top offensive lineman, all the injury, and the thing snowballed a little bit in the second half. But if you go back to the game, a couple of key plays happened. And once again, thank you to collegepressbox.com for allowing me to post these box scores. I go through the play-by-play of every game. Kansas State did get one big 60-yard pass, and they got this 43-yard interception return for a touchdown. But West Virginia, if you go back to the second half or first half, I told you they had a 12-5 first down edge. West Virginia got stopped on downs, 4th and 1 at the 3. Right before the half. They opted to go for it, and they trailed by 7 at the half, giving up an interception return for a touchdown, getting stopped on downs. Could have been leading. At worst-case scenario, should have been tied. Look at the yardage in the second quarter. West Virginia had a 10-1 first down edge in that quarter, 168 to 22-yard edge. So they're capable of playing good. It just didn't work out well for them last week against Kansas State. Now this week they're playing Arizona. So let's say Garrett Green doesn't play. The thing I like, and if you can go back and look at these individual player stats, is Nico Markle did start one game last year. And here it was. It was against Texas Tech. And what they do in that game? In the Texas Tech game, they won 20-13 and covered, led 13-3 at the half with a 171 56-yard edge. So Nico, who is a VHT, one of the highest rated recruits, and believe it or not, what state is Nico from? He's from Arizona. So this is a big game for Nico because he's going back to his home state, playing in front of his home fans. He's excited. West Virginia's excited. And I've been sort of nonplussed with Arizona. I could go through every single game. They really haven't had an impressive game all year. Utah was the most impressive, but Utah had 3 long drives to begin the game, end up with 3 points, 2 stopped on downs and settled for a field goal, and that's why they were able to win that game. If you look at the last 4 weeks, West Virginia is playing to 111.1 level. And this is where the last 4 weeks really kicks in. I mentioned it last week. The last 4 weeks was dynamite down the stretch last year. In fact, let's go take a look at the schedule with numbers again. Take a look at this last 4 weeks. 61-38 is the record over 2 years. Now, last week it was 6-5. It's still getting its feet going here, its legs under them. 17-12, but now's where it really comes into play. Why? It eliminates these first 3 games of the season. It just tells you the current form the team is in. That's this last 4 weeks line. So West Virginia is playing at 111.1. Arizona just 102.9. Very disappointing season and some very low grades. So you've got West Virginia, the better team. Even if you add a 3-point home edge here, that's 105.9. That says West Virginia. And we'll take a look at the schedule with numbers. I'll show you the column to look at. Last 4 weeks, AGG says West Virginia by 5.1. And they're a 3.5 point dog in this game. Let me take a look at the line. 3.5 or 4 point dog in this game. So you're actually getting over a field goal with a team that the last 4 weeks AGG says plays better. And then the final factor to look at is this new column I put out here, Conference AGG, and it's something you should look at in all the games. Take a look at West Virginia. In conference play, they are plus 46 yards per game. In conference play, Arizona's minus 29. So you've got, in my mind, the better team getting points. I like that. It could be a wrong team favored game, but that's what this means out here. Plus 46, minus 29, and you're a dog. That's why it's green. That's why it's a best bet. I can't give you a complete reasoning. The columns are small there, but that's how that comes out over there. So we've got all these factors going on. West Virginia is a 3.5 best bet play. And what this means is I come through the line, I say there's one best bet on West Virginia, there's a half best bet, there's a second, there's a third. 3.5 best bets are on West Virginia. These, if you want to just look at these out here, you can look at the top ones for the week that have most best bets riding on one side. But add it all up, we got a really nice thing there. And just by the way, if you would like to get here on Phil Steele Plus, we just dropped the price to $79. It's normally $99 for the year. We just dropped the price just this morning to $79. I'm still letting you take $10 off that. You can have access to Phil Steele Plus and all this information I'm showing you for just $3.83 a week. Type in the code word Expert Wins. And once again, when you go to the store, it's very easy to use. Just go to the store on philsteele.com. And when you go there, it comes up with this. If you want to buy this week's Inside the Press Box issue, it's there. If you want to get the NFL issue, it's there. If you want to get the FCS magazine, still loaded with information, 2 full pages on every team. You know, I told you last week I would have 2 full pages on an FCS team highlighted and a picture on here. I once again forgot to tell Todd to do that. I don't know if he'll get one ready by the time the tour is over here, but if he could take a picture of an FCS team like North Dakota State, the 2 full pages we provide on it, I could show that to you on the tour. I'll show it to you on the FCS tour tomorrow if we have to. But here's where you go to Phil Steele Plus. You see 79? Type in this code word Expert Wins. You get it for $69. You have access for the entire year. Okay, let's move on to our 4th best bet, and we're going to go to the computer wanted to use. Well, it wasn't going to win every single game, huh? The computer wanted to use play was 4-0 heading into last week. The play I wouldn't let it use was BYU, that loss. So now 4-1 for the computer wanted to use, but I would not let it. And now this week's play is Utah against Houston. Let's face it, Utah's been underperforming. So the computer wanted to use this play. Computer's got 4 big best bets this week. I wouldn't let it be use 5. It's arguing with me. It's complaining. The computer is 4-1 on these plays I put on the tour. But here's the play. Utah 16-8, it's saying. That's a low-scoring game. And the Utes are only minus 3 points in this game. So they're only laying 3. The computer's got them by 8. Once again, I told the computer I couldn't use it this week, but it's Utah minus 3. Here's my write-up on the game. I agree with the computer. I went with the computer score. I went 16-6 Utah. The computer's got 16-8, but I limited the computer to 4 best bets this week, and this was the 5th one. This is the one it wanted to use. We'll see if the record on this play moves to 5-1, but your computer wanted to use, but I wouldn't let it play, is on Utah, and they are minus the 3 over Houston. All right, let's get to our 5th best bet today, and it is San Jose State at Fresno. Let's take a look at this one. Our 5th selection, San Jose State. Now, Fresno's on the right. They are the home team. and San Jose State is on the left. They are the visitors. San Jose State's been playing better than I thought they would this year. Last week, if you look at the individual player stats, they've been using Emmett Brown all year, but Walker Eget came in these last two games, threw for 256, 318 yards the last two games. You got to like that. He's playing well. You've got all the individual stats are loaded for you. And the thing is, you got numerous factors in your favor here. Let's go take a look at this schedule with numbers and see what type of factors you have going for you. San Jose has got the fact that last year when these two met, San Jose won the game by 24 points. Fresno has played the tougher schedule, but the last 4 weeks AGG. And that's not what this one is. This is called your Conference YPG Play of the Week. But your last 4 weeks AGG has Fresno at 93.9 and San Jose at 95.4. Now, Fresno's laying 5.5 points here. So the fact that Fresno's a big favorite has the last 4 weeks AGG liking San Jose plus the points here as a best bet because Fresno's laying 5.5. But here's the key reason it's over here is right here. San Jose is plus 66 yards per game in conference play this year. Fresno is minus 74 yards per game in conference play. Yet, Fresno's favored by 5.5. So that's why it is, it's a brand new thing I've got out here. And once again, to explain it, I'm showing you the one team is plus 66, the dog is plus 66, the favorite's minus 74. That makes it a best bet for the conference AGG play. So you got the conference AGG, you got the last 4 weeks AGG. You actually have 3 in their favor, and you lose this one, so it's a 2.5 play on San Jose State. And the other thing I wanted to point out on this game was the fact that if you open up your magazine and take a look at head coach records, go to San Jose, Ken Niumatalolo, and Ken Niumatalolo is now 33 and 19 ATSs and away dog. So I should have factored that in on this schedule as a technical angle. There it is. San Jose State. Why do I have them here under the technical angles? Away dog. What you would do is look up, in this case, either San Jose State's away dog record or Niumatalolo's away dog record. That's the reason they're in this column under technical angles. So there's your 5 selections for this week. I do have 4 quick hitters for you. And one real quick note on PressBox, like I said, let me click off that one for a minute. I'll leave it up here because I'll just pop to it for 1 second. But the battle is on. I show you this every week. I'm 20 and 14, computer 17 and 13. 1 losing week all year for the two of us combined. Computer would be 21 and 14 if I included the games the computer wanted to use. Computer's now 33 and 20 the last 16 weeks. Really heats up in the second half of the year. And if you look at the combined record for the season for PressBox, it's 48 and 33. This week, I didn't show it to you last week. I'm giving it back to you this week. You can actually get my 53 games written up like I've shown you on every single game, Computer's Forecast, my forecast, for just $15. Go get the single issue of PressBox. Use the code word BATTLE24. That's BATTLE24. You get it for just $15 this week. And if you want to save on the season, the tour special actually got knocked down to $119 for the final 7 issues of the college. You get it at 25% off just because you're watching the tour. So it's all the way down to $89. And remember, that gets you Phil Steele Plus through the Super Bowl. So if you're thinking of getting Phil Steele Plus, just go ahead and subscribe to PressBox. Get that for the rest of the year for the college, and you get the Phil Steele Plus through the Super Bowl, both of them for $89.25. Use the code word TOUR VIP or give us a call at 866-918-7711. All right, we're moving on to the quick hitters. And your first quick hitter is 2 different directions. Now, this one I don't have a lot of numbers to show you. It's more of a gut feeling, just 2 teams headed in a different direction. We're going to put Arkansas State on the right over here, and we're going to put Troy on the left. Now, Troy's a team that's very proud and had a lot of good years. Look at their last couple years. See all this green? That's a lot of wins. Once again, if this is green, that means they won the game. Red means they lost the game. I wish I could do that for the magazine. It just doesn't show up well. That's why everything's in black, because it shows up better in print. But here, you can easily see the red and green. It pops out to you. Well, Troy is now 1-6, so it's sort of time to hit the rebuild button. You know what I mean? Also, Goose Crowder, their quarterback, is out for the year. So I want to show you something here. Goose Crowder started here, did not play these two, played against Florida A&M, and then basically didn't play these 5. So in the 2 games Goose Crowder played this year, let me see what notes are. Goose Crowder, 2 games, they have averaged 455 yards per game. However, in the games he hasn't played, they're averaging 256 yards per game, and Goose Crowder's out for the year. So you got a team, look at the red. When Crowder's not playing, look when he did play. 391, 507. They put up the points in those games. So that's one thing you got going for you. Meanwhile, Arkansas State, Jalen Rayner had a good year last year. He had a 17-7 ratio. Now this year, if you take a look at his individual stats, he opened up 1-1, 2-1, 0-1, 0-2. So in the first 4 games, let's go back even the first 6 games. His ratio on the season was only 4 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. Well, last week, we finally saw Jalen Rayner. He had a 3-0 ratio last week, so you see that here. It's the beauty of looking at these individual stats. Also, Jarquez Cross. Look at him. He's a top rusher. Slow start to the year. 117, 127. So you see the direction Troy's going, right? Down. You see the direction Arkansas State's going, right? Up. And look at last year. They finished the season with a flurry. In fact, if you look at the spread last year for Arkansas State, they seem to get going this time of year. Last year, look at this, win. They won. They upset ULM. They upset Louisiana. They played good game against South Alabama, got the cover, and then they upset Texas State. They were a dog in all 4 games, but went 3-1. They are a favorite here. They're -7.5. But I think we have one team going in one direction, the other one going in the other. Let's take Arkansas State, -7.5 over Troy. All right, now this one, last week I liked Arkansas over LSU, and that didn't come out good. LSU looked really, really good. So I'm a little afraid picking against our LSU. They're starting to play some really good ball and look good, but the chart likes A&M. And so let's go take a look at what the chart likes here in this one. And A&M, it says that the situation favors them. Well, what situation? Well, here we've got A&M at home, where they are absolutely strong. But LSU just played a massive game against Ole Miss here. They went to overtime, pulled out the win, probably got outplayed in the game. As you see here, 464 to 421, sort of fortunate to win. Then last week they had to go on the road and win, and now they got to go on the road again and win. That's a third tough game in the row, and their second straight on the road. That's a tough situation. That's why if you look here under the situation, if it's a positive number, that means that this green favors the home team. If this was a -1.5, that would mean it favors the visitor. But here, the situation favors the home team. All right, what else has got A&M going for them? Well, last time here, they won by 15 points. So let's take a look at 2022. They hosted LSU. They won the game 38-25. Okay, now let's take a look at the next thing coming up, and that is A&M is home versus away. Okay, what does that mean? Let's take a look. Take a look at Texas A&M. First of all, how do they do at home? 7-1, 4-3, 6-1, 4-0, 5-2, 6-1. So here, 11, 15, 21, 25, 32 wins. Plus, they've won all but one game this year. So I think it's 35 versus 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 35-8, 35-9 straight up at home. But here's something else about home. Let's click here. Now, if you click here, it gives you the series history on the game. And I'm going to explain this to you. I know a lot of you guys know this inside and out, especially you Phil Steele Plus members. But if this is red, that means the team lost the game. So you don't even have to look at the score. You know they lost or won. If this is red, that means they did not cover. If it is green, they covered. So once again, you don't have to go back and say, okay, they were -6, they lost by 3, they didn't cover. This does the math for you. So you can see that LSU had pretty much dominated this game. But where they haven't dominated is here. Look at the record for the home team. Now, here's the difference. If this word says win, that means the home team won. So the home team has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row for the home team. That's a good thing. Now, the color means green covers, red doesn't cover, blue means it's a push. But the spread's been pretty high in those games. There hasn't been one where it's been floating around the 2.5 that this game is at. So basically, Texas A&M just has to win the game. That's why I showed you straight up record on A&M. That's why I'm showing you straight up over here for the win. And that's why it's included over here. And then let's take a look at LSU on the road. LSU on the road is actually, let's see if I got the number written down here. LSU on the road is, home team has won 7 in a row. Kelly is 5-11 ATS away from home. So if you include the neutral site games and you include the away games, I'm not going to go back and show it to you. We're running out of time here. But he's 5-11 ATS on the road. So that's why when you go to the schedule, this has got home, away, and then the final factor's right here. Now, A&M's at home, right? So they should be at least a 3-point favorite, and the Aggies' home favorite should be at least 4. So you got to figure the Aggies by 4. But look at this. LSU is plus 31 yards per game. A&M is plus 87. So that means they're 50 points better in conference play. They should be a 7-8-point favorite. That's why when you take a look at the schedule with numbers, and I've got these numbers written down for you over here, the A&M plus 87, plus 31, that's why it's a conference AGG. So they got all this stuff going for them. We're going to go with A&M as a 3.5 play for this one. Now let's go to the series play. We're going to go Colorado State against New Mexico. We're going to put New Mexico on the left. New Mexico's been a pretty exciting team. Last week the number was 80, right? That scared a lot of people off, but guess what? Game went over the total. How about that? New Mexico's got no defense. Look at all the red over here, but they've got a good offense. They score points. But Colorado State's a more complete team. Let's go take a look at Colorado State. Put them on the right. Colorado State does have a good offense. Look at all the green over here. But they also have a good defense. They're not a great defense. They're minus 27. But at least they're not minus 133. Look at all the red over here. We don't see much red over here. So I like that. It means they have a decent defense. They have a good offense. They have a good offense. But the reason I've got this game here is the series history. Look at this. Colorado State's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Last 12. And in those 12, they're 10-2 against the spread. Colorado State in this one is laying, let's see what they are, minus 6.5 in this one. So it's a series play. We're going to go with Colorado State. You know who's going to have a big game if you're a fantasy football guy? I want to show you Morrow here. Avery Morrow started out, didn't play in the opener. 27 yards, getting healthy. 67 yards, getting healthy. 156, 140 against Oregon State. Really impressed me in that game. 100 against San Jose, 132 against Air Force. So, slow start. Now he's going. What's Avery Morrow going to do here against New Mexico? Look at this rush defense, guys. 240 yards per game, 6.0 yards per carry on the season. Put Avery Morrow in your fantasy football team if you have that for college football. All right, your final play is a situational play. And once again, we go to the schedule with numbers for this. Oregon has played the tougher schedule this year, number 46. Oregon does rate a last 4 weeks AGG a minus 27.5. I might as well show you that. Let's click over here, click over here. We put Illinois on the left, and we put Oregon on the right. Now, last week I was thinking Oregon was going to struggle in a letdown spot. Guess what? They just dominated Purdue. Absolutely dominated them. 21-0, 35-0. They win the game, and finally scored some fourth quarter points. Last 4 weeks says they're playing to 125 level. Illinois, despite the impressive record, only playing to a 102 level. So that's 23 yet in the home field edge. That's why the AGG factor here is saying Oregon by 27.5. Conference AGG, Illinois is actually being outgained by 39 yards per game in conference play, despite the fact they're 3-1. Oregon in conference play, despite the fact they played Ohio State, is still plus 159 yards per game. So that's impressive. That's why that's in yellow out here. And then the final factor, and the reason it's here on the tour, is the situation. Now, Brett Bielema said after last week's game against Michigan, he said, you don't beat Michigan preparing for him 7 days of the year. You prepare for him 365 days of the year. It was the 100th anniversary. It was a game where they requested Michigan to play them at home. They talked about it all summer. It was the most important game on the schedule, and guess what? They got it done. Now you're going on the road, flying across the country, 2 different time zones they have to travel. They're playing Oregon in Autzen Stadium. Oregon wasn't even tested last week. They're well rested, playing great football. I like Oregon minus 21.5 over Illinois as your situational play. So I've given you all the stuff from the tour. You've got the discounts available for you. And by the way, I think Todd did slide that in. Let's take a look at that FCS magazine. I'll show you this on the FCS tour. Make sure you check that out. The FCS tour doing well this year. But look at this. 2 full pages on every FCS team. Here's a complete write-up of every position. Here's a complete write-up of the offense, defense, just like you get in the magazine. And over here, Does this page look familiar to you guys? We've got that on every single FCS team. Look at this. Last 5 years spread records. You get the things from last year, statistical leaders. It's all here on every single page. Appreciate Todd getting that up for you. And that'll do it for this week's tour. Hopefully we have a big October. I'm really looking forward to November. As I said, last year the tour hit 13-7 in November. Really looking forward to that. But let's finish October at the big winning week, huh, guys? I put a lot of effort into this every week. I want to go 5-0 on the selections, 4-0 on the quick hitters. I'll be rooting for them all this weekend. I do put the best plays in the press box, and then these are plays after I put the best plays in the press box that I choose from. But let's have a big week this week with the tour.